If you're wanting to find high quality clients on LinkedIn, you're probably using LinkedIn Sales Navigator all wrong, or even worse, you're not using it at all. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to target your ICP with pinpoint accuracy using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Now, these are going to be people that actually want to buy your services. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name's Nicholas Kirchner, and I'm the co-founder at Hydra. And I've owned multiple seven-figure agencies and even sold my first one at 21 years old. So I know a thing or two about closing clients on LinkedIn. Now, why is LinkedIn Sales Navigator such a lethal tool for you and your sales teams? Well, legendary copywriter Gary Halbert said it best. The best advantage that you can have in any marketing or sales situation is selling to a starving crowd. So no matter how brilliant your product, your strategy, or your marketing is, nothing beats selling to people who actually have a need for what it is that you offer. Now, I've used this exact approach to not only generate millions of dollars in revenue for my own companies, but also for the hundreds of agency clients that we work with currently at Hydra. And we use these strategies to consistently book multi-5 and even six-figure opportunities with what I'm about to show you. All right, so what is LinkedIn Sales Navigator? LinkedIn Sales Navigator is LinkedIn's tool to be able to do deep research on your actual ICP and filter down to the exact criteria that your ICP has. So without further ado, let's get into it. So right here, first thing you're going to want to do is go on to LinkedIn and find LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And we're going to choose a plan. Now, they do have a free trial. So what you're going to want to do is scroll down to Core. You don't need the Advanced Plus version because this is more for if you have teams and we're really looking to scale our outreach. But you can just go to Core and we're going to click Start Your Free Trial. Now, when we're on this page, you're going to see that Core is $99.99 per month or $9.59 a year. Now, I do recommend going with the Core option versus the team. Now, the thing of it is, you might be thinking $100 a month is a lot for an outreach software, and you're not wrong. But the thing is think about if you even book one or two opportunities from what I'm about to show you, that these clients are going to pay for this software cost well in excess of hundreds and hundreds of times over. So that said, you're going to want to sign up for the Sales Navigator Core plan, and that's the first thing you need to do in this process. All right, so now that we're signed into your LinkedIn, what you're going to want to do is navigate from the news feed here over to Sales Navigator in the top right-hand corner. Now, once we're here on Sales Navigator, the very first thing that we're going to see here is this home screen, and we're going to want to go to lead filters. So when we click lead filters, this is where we're actually going to be able to find our ICP on LinkedIn based on the criteria that they have. So what I'm going to start with is going through all of the different filters that are my favorites and then the ones that I don't use typically, just because it either narrows the search criteria too much or they're just relatively unimportant. So the first thing that we're going to do to find high quality clients on LinkedIn is use this company headcount function. Now, the reason I like company headcount is because it's a great proxy and a great filter for how mature a company is and how much revenue they're doing. Now, this all depends on your product's price point or your service's price point, but the reality is no one wants to work with broke clients, and I surely don't, especially on this channel. So what I like to do is avoid anyone who's self-employed for the most part. So I'm mostly going to be looking at companies that have 1 to 10, 11 to 50, 51 to 200 or more employees. Now, what this is going to allow us to do, all these companies are pretty good size, right? Maybe barring this 1 to 10 option, which we might end up removing later on. So company headcount, great filter. Love to use it pretty much every time I'm doing a search. Past company, I'm going to ignore. Company type, I'm going to typically ignore. You could do privately held businesses. If you work with smaller companies or if you only want to work with Fortune 500, enterprise level clients, you're going to find a lot more of them in public companies. But for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to just leave it blank. Next, moving on to the role piece. Function we're going to typically not use, but current job title we are going to be using heavily, and it's probably one of the most important search criteria that we can have because you want to be actually targeting the decision maker who's going to buy your product or service. So you typically have conversations maybe with a brand manager or a CMO or a VP of digital or a director of marketing. That's what we're going to type in here, no matter who it is that you sell to. So for example, in this, I'm going to say, let's sell to financial advisors, right? Maybe you have a professional services company or an agency that you have financial advisors as your client. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here. Seniority level, I'm going to ignore. Past job title, I'm going to ignore. Years in current company. This is another good proxy for how well a company is doing or how well this person does in their role, right? Because typically people who don't have many years at a company or a position, they're kind of jumping around a lot, maybe not in a position to buy something or grow their business necessarily because some of those past things may have not worked out. So typically I'm going to go 1 to 2 years or 3 to 5, 6 to 10, and then more than 10. Less than 1 year, I do tend to avoid unless I have a specific reason otherwise to include them. Years in current position, I'm going to leave blank. Next, though, into geography. So I typically am going to go North America here. That's where our clients primarily are, along with the United Kingdom. And I'm going to leave it at that. The rest of these I am going to ignore for the most part. Industry is a filter that you can use if we're not getting the right search criteria or not getting the right people here on this right-hand side. But typically I'm leaving this blank as well. Now, buyer intent is something I'm leaving blank, but best path in is something that I'm using. So the idea with Sales Navigator is that I want to reach people who are net new to our company so we can sell our products and services to them. So these are going to be your second and third degree connections. Your first degree connections on LinkedIn are people who have already accepted your connection request. So second and third degree is where we want to play on here. The next thing that we're going to want to look at is recent updates. So this is probably the biggest ninja hack I can give you as far as LinkedIn Sales Navigator is concerned, because most people who don't see results with this strategy are simply messaging people who aren't active on LinkedIn. Well, how are we going to fix that? Well, we have this posted on LinkedIn filter here that I can turn on, and this is automatically going to filter down to everyone who's posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. Now, why is this important? Because our messages are going to get read because they're on LinkedIn every day and they're actually looking at content and reviewing messages. Next down here, workflow. I will use some of these features when I'm looking to kind of build a pipeline or a CRM inside of Sales Navigator that goes outside of the scope of this video. So if you want an advanced guide with advanced filtering, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to make that video as well, but we're going to leave this blank for the sake of this. So now you can see we have 7,500 results of people who might be financial advisors. But as I'm scrolling through here, I'm starting to see like we have financial advisor, we have strategic advisor, we have president, we have partner, we have M&A advisor, and a couple other financial advisors, but this isn't a perfect list. Now, you're probably thinking, well, this is going to take a lot of time to comb through and make sure that I have all of the right people. So what I'm going to do is actually turn to advanced search functions, and LinkedIn calls this their Boolean search function. And this is how we can hyper target our exact ICP and make sure that we're not getting results of people that we don't actually want. All right, so what is the best way to use these Boolean search functions and how do we do it? Well, long story short, these are made up of the and, or not operators along with parentheses. And we're going to look through a few examples here that I've put together. So let's say that we're targeting roofing companies, right? And this is going to be the search function that we're actually going to go and put in the search bar in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So if I look at this, I'm targeting owners or founders or CEOs or president, meaning that they could be any one of these job titles, and they have to match roofing or roofer or roofing contractor as far as keywords that are showing up in their profile. But I'm saying I do not want to include anyone who is a commercial roofer. I only want to include residential, for example. So we can use all of these in combination or alone to be able to hyper target our prospect. So if I'm looking at e-commerce brands, right? I might go founder or CEO or CMO and e-commerce or Shopify or D2C, right? So depending on your avatar, you can craft these based on the keywords that your decision makers actually use, and there's no one that's going to know that better than you. So the main thing I want to get across here is that you can use any combination of these or one of them to find your prospects with precision. So let's go back over to our financial advisor search, and we're going to hit search again. Now, what you're going to see here is that took us from 7,500 results all the way down to 6,000 results, right? And we can continue to hone this in more and more using these parenthetical searches. So you're going to want to play around with Boolean searches. I would say they're one of the most powerful features that LinkedIn Sales Navigator has, and is definitely going to help you target ready to buy prospects. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to do once you're happy with your sales criteria is you're going to want to turn on this bubble, save search to get notified of new results. Now, what this is going to allow you to do is when I click on save searches here, I'm going to be able to see, okay, this is the search that I've saved, and I can rename it if I want to here. And this is going to allow me to come onto LinkedIn Sales Navigator every day and have a list of prospects that I actually want to connect with and eventually message and book for sales calls. Okay, so now that I know exactly how to find my ICP, what do I do next to actually get the conversation going and hopefully book sales calls? Well, what you're going to do every day is come into this list that you've saved, or this save search, and we're going to go ahead and click these three dots and click connect. Now, the thing that we're going to want to do here is make sure that we're sending our connection requests blank. Now, that probably comes as a shock because a lot of the advice that I see is send personalized messages and personalized first lines and make sure that it's relevant to the prospect. And I'll tell you that couldn't be further from the truth in terms of actually getting results on LinkedIn. Now, the reason is we're going to let our profile do the talking. Now, what I mean by that is whenever you post on LinkedIn or whenever you send a connection request, it not only shows your name, but it shows your headline right underneath that name. Now, if you want to know how to write a good profile headline that actually gets acceptance, then go ahead and click on the video on screen, and it's going to take you over to my other training that is going to show you how to optimize your profile. So with that said, we're going to send this connection request completely blank, and this raises your acceptance rates by up to 30%. So this is definitely something that you don't want to miss. Then we're just going to go ahead and click send invitation. We're going to rinse and repeat for 25 prospects per day. And with that said, you're probably going to run out of credits or messages or connection requests rather by Thursday or Friday of that week. So what you're going to want to do is start on Monday, get done Thursday, Friday. And then also with your LinkedIn Sales Navigator subscription, you're going to be able to send in-mails. So how would I actually go about setting up an in-mail search to use those credits? Well, a LinkedIn in-mail is no different than a normal DM, but it actually lets me send it without being connected to that prospect. So what can I do here? I can say second degree connection, third degree connection, and instead of hitting connect, I'm just going to go straight to the message. Now, what you're going to see is I'm using one of 150 credits that I have left for this month on LinkedIn Sales Nav. So you're not going to use any credits for first degree connections, but you are going to use credits for second and third degree connections when you message them. So what's the next step after that? Well, we're going to want to go and actually message this prospect. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm going to just use an in-mail credit here, and I'm going to go ahead and type out my message. So this is a really high converting script that I recommend that you test out no matter what niche you're in. So it goes, hey name, I know this is random, but you seem like the best person to reach out to for this. Now, this makes me sound human. This makes it sound like it's not some automated outreach that they've probably gotten 500 of today that are absolute garbage. And let's be honest, that's where LinkedIn gets a lot of its cringe reputation from, is from poorly written messages. So I'm currently putting together a research report on what Avatar is doing to scale, grow, test, more of the end result that you provide. So for example, I'm currently putting together a research report on what agencies are doing to scale or generate leads in Q2, right? I'll be sharing the finished report with insights for anyone who's kind enough to take a moment to respond. Now I'm going to ask, what are you doing for X, or what has your strategy been for Y? And what this results in is prospects sending you paragraphs back of what they've tested, what they've tried, and what might not be working. So not only do I get a great piece of marketing content later on that I can publish with a report and these insights, but I also get to hear all of their pain points that I can then address, help with, offer to jump on a call and solve for them. So this is a great message that's going to reveal your prospect's pain and position you to be able to solve it. And that's all you need to do to be able to close ideal prospects using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So hopefully you've learned a thing or two in this video. If you did, it would mean the world if you left me a like and a sub. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next video.